Hello and welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be painting this champagne glass and this is the colour palette I'm using. This is my first video, so please bear with me. These are the dotting tools I'll be using. Some are acrylic rods and other are nail dotting tools. So here I've got one of my smaller acrylic rods and I'm picking up the paint dot by dot and placing it on the glass. As I work around the glass, I'm trying to make sure that the dots are reasonably in line with each other and about the same size. They're never going to be perfect, but this is the beauty of a hand-painted glass. Now, if you're new to dotting, this can sometimes be the trickiest part of starting a glass, as you want to make sure the last dot you place matches up from the start of your dotting circle to the back of your dotting circle. Now I'm moving on to the second row. I quite like to use the same size and colour for the second row, but that's completely up to you. I just feel it makes a very nice effect. Sorry for the camera change here, I realised it was quite out of focus and I'm trying to get the best angle. When placing this layer, I'm trying to make sure that each new dot I place lands equally between the space of the row above. This allows room for future designs and the progression down the glass. Now we're getting on to some trickier stuff. I place the glass flat to keep it perfectly still. These little black swoops are done by filling the dotting tool with paint and then allowing it to glide across the glass in that swooping effect. Some of these swoops will be slightly larger and slightly smaller than others. I do try and keep them as even as possible, but again, this adds to the nice effect of a hand-painted glass, so I don't get too worked up on it. I repeat this all the way around the glass until I get to the start again. This row I've decided to use the same size acrylic rod as we started with, as it fitted nicely in the gap between the two black lines. However, the colour I've slightly changed. This one is a metallic paint, so it'll give it a nice shimmer. It's quite hard to see in the camera, but when it dries it'll catch the light and add a shimmer effect. Now, if you can see here, my hand is quite shaky. I suffer a little bit with anxiety, and this painting method helps me relax. When I place the dot, I breathe out to keep my hand as steady as possible. I've picked up a slightly different shade of orange again, and a slightly smaller dotting tool than we used before, and this method is called walking the dots. So picking up a load of paint and then pressing the dotting tool in a dotting motion, and as the paint decreases it will cause a nice walking the dot effect. Now I'm going back in with a slightly larger acrylic rod than we used last time and placing a different shade of orange. This again is another metallic paint, so we'll give it a lovely shimmery effect when it dries and finishes. Now these glasses don't have to contain as many colours as I use. Sometimes just 1 or 2 colours works well. It's entirely up to you and you can be as creative as you like. Here I've decided to use a slightly lighter shade of orange again, and the same size dotting tool as we used for the black swooshes. I'm now going to do another set of swooshes. There you saw me deciding what to do next, and I decided to do a swoosh in the opposite direction using the same tool and the same colour. These mandala patterns are great. You really can be as creative as you want. Just let your imagination run wild. If you're struggling to keep your hand steady, I use my little finger and the one above it to rest on the glass, just to give me a little extra stability when placing these swooshes. I'm going back in again with that same size acrylic rod, and now I'm going to bring the darker colour of the orange that we began with and bring it back down to bring the whole glass back together again. I now bring the black back in just to tie the glass together, and I decide to be a little bit creative here and add a couple of swooshes that join together. And then you'll see me come in and add a walk in the dot section on the outside, which I think brings a really nice effect. Here I'm coming back in with a slightly larger acrylic rod again, but that same metallic paint. Here I'm starting to realise that it's getting quite hard not to touch the wet paint, so I'll be putting this glass aside in a minute and letting it dry. I usually try and let them dry overnight to make sure the paint is fully dried before I go back in and add some top dots and detail. If you like this video and you're interested in seeing more videos and tutorials like this, please let me know. Leave a comment and hit that subscribe button to be notified when part 2 comes out. Thank you, bye!